Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. This is a guide for round 7 of the Manufacturer Series exhibition season. Let's get this started. Look for the digital flag that is on the left as you want to brake before you pass it. Brake hard for a while here as you want to set yourself up so you can get a fast exit out of this chicane. Just be nice and smooth with your throttle inputs and you'll get a good exit. Then lift off of the throttle for this right turn. Be nice and patient as you start to accelerate so you don't understeer onto the green area. Then brake just before you go under the bridge. Be nice and gentle, easing off of the brakes. Bring yourself as far to the inside of the turn as you can as you slowly accelerate. Bring yourself to the right and brake well before the wall on the left ends, so you brake hard for a short while here. Be nice and gentle, easing off of the brakes. Just let the car rotate around this turn before you start to accelerate. Bring yourself to the right and brake before the curb on the right starts. Quick burst of braking over here. You want the car to quickly rotate around this turn. When the curb on the left ends, you want to use some of your braking power. Touch the curb that is on the right. Slowly accelerate. Bring yourself to the right. Look for the digital flag that is on the right as you want to brake before you pass it. You'll be braking hard for a while here. Be nice and gentle, easing off of the brakes and slowly applying the throttle. You want to make sure that your car is under your full control. Take this left turn at full throttle, then brake right after you pass it. Bring yourself to the inside of the turn. Be nice and gentle as you accelerate your way out. Now brake early for this turn, as this turn will set you up for the final chicane. So you brake hard for a short moment, quickly ease off of the brakes, make sure you hit the apex. Bring yourself all the way to the right and brake just before you go under the Gran Turismo Sport sign. Go over the curbs where the apexes are. Do a lot of throttle control. Straighten up the car and then start to fully accelerate. With the Viper, it's a little understeer, so you can either short shift your way through this turn or you can do a short lift and then start to fully accelerate. But that is all for the lap guide. Let's go ahead and talk about the strategies. For this qualifying session, you're going to have 10 minutes to try to get a good qualifying time. The racing soft tires don't wear too fast, but you're still going to want to do the jump out and jump back in strategy after the end of your first or even your second qualifying lap. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, I'll talk a bit more about it in a moment, but in the meantime, as you start your qualifying session, you just want to make sure that you warm up your tires. Get them heated up so they can give you the grip that you will need when you do your qualifying laps. And before you start your qualifying lap, make sure that you have someone that you can get the slipstream out of, as that will help you go even faster and it'll shave a couple tenths off your lap times. You'll notice this the most as you go down the main and the back straight, but because you are under the slipstream, you are going faster, so you will need to brake a little earlier than usual. And as you're about to start your qualifying lap or as you're finishing it, just make sure that you are careful when you go through this final chicane, because the big curb that is on the left turn can potentially screw you over. So you need to decide for yourself before the qualifying session even starts. You need to decide whether you want to constantly go over or around the big curbs. So make sure you make that decision and stick to it. But as you finish your qualifying lap, you're going to do the jump out and jump back in strategy. This is where you press options, exit, and in the lobbies you press enter course, or during the actual race itself, that button will be replaced with qualifying, so you press that and you'll spawn back in at the pit box, and all you have to do now is to do an out lap and then you can do another qualifying lap. This saves you from having to do an end lap and having to deal with the animation of switching tires. So you can pretty much just skip all that. You save yourself a bit more time, and you also spawn back in with a new set of racing soft tires. So when you start your next qualifying lap, you'll have fresh tires so you can get the maximum grip possible. And that is pretty much all that there's to it. You just want to repeat this process until you run out of time. For this race, racing soft and medium tires are required for this race, so make sure that you use both the racing soft and the racing medium tires for at least one lap. so you do not get the 1 minute penalty that gets applied at the end of the race. So you're pretty much going to want to do a 2-stop for this race, since the racing soft tires can last you 8 or even 9 laps if you take really good care of them, and you don't want to spend too much time on the racing medium tires since they're obviously slower than the racing soft tires. So you can pretty much just do 2 8-lap stints on the racing soft tires, which will leave 4 laps for the racing medium tires. Now when it comes to fuel, I hope you like fuel saving because that's going to be a pretty big deal over here. So most cars can do 16 laps of fuel here, so this means that if you are not fuel saving, you will be forced to refuel and you're going to be stuck refueling for quite a while. So this is where the fuel saving comes in. So if you fuel save mainly by short shifting or being under someone's slipstream, you'll be spending less fuel per lap, which means that you'll be able to spend less time refueling when you do your pit stops. It is possible to not have to refuel at all, but you need to make sure that you are constantly short shifting and that you are behind someone's slipstream. The goal for this race is to use 5% of fuel per lap or less. If you are using more than 5% of fuel per lap, then you risk having to eventually refuel. So I know I mentioned a bit about the slipstream. When it comes to that, that's going to help you fuel save, but at the same time, it's going to help you get a tow from the car in front of you. So let's say that the car in front of you is going at full pace and you're doing some fuel saving by short shifting and you're constantly behind them. That slipstream is going to help you not only just keep up with them, especially on the main and the back straights, it's going to help you fuel save even more. So when it comes time to go to the pit stop and refuel, you have to refuel less, they have to refuel more, so you have an increased chance of coming out of the pit stops before they do, and you just gained a free position right there. And another quick note is that the slipstream range is 3/4 of a second, so you want to make sure that you are within that 3/4 of a second gap so you can take advantage of their slipstream. And also make sure you don't short shift way too much to the point where you're losing pace, as you're going to risk falling behind that way. And I want to note that when you do your pit stop sequence, when you're refueling or not refueling, you're going to see this little diamond that is above the fuel bar. That little diamond shows you how much fuel you need to have to be able to complete the race, and this takes in consideration how you are going about your fuel efficiency. So this was my first pit stop, so I'm not going to refuel just yet. I still have enough fuel to last this next stint, so I'm more than safe in case I somehow have to refuel. So I'm just going to continue to short shift my way throughout this race, and eventually I actually don't have to refuel at all. So we're just going to go through the second pit stop, the final pit stop, and the diamond is right above where my fuel is, which means that I have enough fuel to be able to finish the race. I just have to keep up with the short shifting and I'll be more than good to go. And also just try to be careful when you go through the chicane, because as you see here, I ended up taking it the wrong way and it completely screwed me over. So this is why in the qualifying session I mentioned to either go over or around the curb. This is why, so I just wanted to make that point clear. So let's say that your car is not that efficient in fuel, or for some reason you just cannot make 16 laps of fuel. So instead of doing 8 soft, 4 medium, we're going to swap the tire order around. So we're going to do 8 soft, 4 medium, and 8 soft. So you're just doing the racing medium stint earlier, and you do need to be careful here as you do risk pitting out into traffic in case other people are trying out different strategies. So luckily in this case I didn't pit out into traffic, so I can just go about my merry way. So this is assuming that you cannot make 16 laps of fuel, and this is also assuming that you are going flat out. If you are going flat out, it is still possible to do the 8 soft, 4 medium, as long as your car can make 16 laps of fuel. But in case you can't, then you can just go 8 soft, 4 medium, 8 soft. So as you see here, in this run, I pushed the car a lot more. I didn't do as much fuel saving, and I had to spend quite a while having to refuel. So in this case, because I'm losing about 8% of fuel per lap and you refuel at 7% of fuel per lap, I ended up losing about 5 seconds. So that's a lot of time lost by refueling. So you want to try to make sure that you can do at least some form of fuel saving so you can spend less time refueling and potentially gain positions just by fuel saving. And this is what I meant here. If you do an alternate strategy, you risk pitting out into traffic. So right now I'm behind these two cars. So now I have to find a way to get around them. But hopefully that gives you an idea of what to do for this race. Once again, go for 8 soft, 8 soft, 4 medium. If your car cannot make 16 laps of fuel possible, then you can go for 8 soft, 4 medium, 8 soft. Your goal here is to fuel save while being able to keep up with the pace. So you're going to do most of the fuel saving by short shifting and being under someone's slipstream. And just try to keep that slipstream for as long as you can, because the more that you're in the slipstream, then you'll be able to save a lot more fuel along the way. And that is pretty much it for the guide. And I do want to apologize because I am a little short on time over here. Got a couple things going on, so unfortunately I wasn't able to test out the 3-stop nor the 1-stop. Not that I think that they'll be necessary to even test out, since the 2-stop seems to do the job just fine. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. So this is Mr. Messier, wishing you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video.